Okay, we are looking at the game Crazy Time by Evolution Gaming, and we're watching it through a live stream at Traxino. This is a glorified version of Big Six, sometimes called the Wheel of Fortune. So there's 8 different bets. The player may bet on 1, 2, 5, or 10, and these work like in Big Six, where, for example, if the player bet on 5, then if the wheel lands in 5, the bet would pay 5 to 1. Now, one thing that Crazy Time adds is this what's called the top slot that you see above the wheel right now. And let's let that keep rolling here, and I will explain that. Okay, so you can see that on the left it stopped on the 1 symbol, and on the right it stopped on 5x. That means that if you bet on 1 and the wheel stops there, then any win will get multiplied by 5. And on the left reel, it always stops somewhere, so there's always exactly 1 win that's going to get multiplied. Now on the right side, it doesn't always stop on a multiplier. If it stops between 2 multipliers, then it's basically treated like a 1x multiplier. So let's go on here, see what happens with the wheel.
I liked you when you were doing your own stuff, in that show, and I like you now. I like you now, buddy. That was a good one. That was a good one. Good time, number 1.
Okay, so it did land in number 1. That means that any bets on 1, instead of paying 1 to 1, will pay 5 to 1. So next, let's talk about some of the bonuses. Next, let's go through an example of the cash hunt bonus. So the top slot, the left reel, lands on the coin flip bonus. So that's not going to help us if we bet on cash hunt. So it does land in cash hunt, so the dealer will walk over to the cash hunt board. So you can see all the different prizes here. Let me pause for a second. So there are different cash hunt boards. I've seen at least 3. Who knows how many there actually are. But the average prize always, I've done the math, and it's always in the range of 19 to 20. And some cash hunt boards have a maximum win of 500, but it's usually 100. So the dealer will pull that lever, and that will hide the prizes behind these pictures. It mixes them up, and then at this point the player is prompted to pick one of these symbols. So the player has control over his own destiny. If the player doesn't pick, the game will pick one for you. So after sufficient time, the game reveals the prizes for each pick. And yeah, it's that simple. Next, let's play the coin flip bonus. First, let's see what happens with the top slot. That lands in 5 and 2x. So had you bet on 5 and it landed in 5, your win would have been doubled. But that doesn't help us if we bet on coin flip. It did land there as expected, so the dealer will walk over to the coin flip board. So let me pause this for a second. You can see that coin that the dealer is holding. It has red on one side and on the other side is blue. And right now that machine behind his hand is choosing multipliers or wins for each side. Okay, so let me pause this for a second. This has chosen a multiplier of 4 for the red side and 20 for the blue side. That means that if the coin lands on red, the player will win 4-1, and if it lands on blue, the player will win 20-1. Now I've noticed that the game always picks one small number and one big number. The small number can be anything from 2 to 5, and the large one can be anything from 7 to 100. And then it randomly assigns the small prize and the big prize to the red and the blue sides. So let's continue this. And he put the coin in that circle there, and it flipped and it landed on blue. So players that bet coin flip will win 20-1. Next, let's have a look at the pachinko bonus. So first, let's see what happens with the top slot. The left reel lands on Crazy Time and 7X on the right. So that means that had you been on Crazy Time and the wheel stopped there, you would win 7 times whatever the win was. But that doesn't help us if we bet on pachinko, which is where the wheel landed. So the dealer will walk over to the pachinko board. So next, or should I say first, in the pachinko bonus round, what the game does is you can see at the bottom of the screen there are various wins or multipliers. Starting from the left, we see 3, 5, 7, 7, 15, 7, 10, 10, 2, 7, double, 20, 15, 20, 50. And at the top there, you see a yellow square that indicates where the dealer is supposed to drop the puck from. Now, the possible wins or multipliers at the bottom are not always the same. I've seen at least 3 different mixes of them, but I've also analyzed them all mathematically, and they all tend to average out to the same win. So let's resume here. So I assume that the game is randomly telling where the dealer to drop that puck. And then it makes its way down the plinko board. And, okay, you can see it landed in double. That will double all those fixed prizes. So you can see previously the first 3 on the left were 3, 5, and 7. They doubled to 6, 10, and 14, as did everything. And then the dealer will go back up to the top and drop the puck from a different location. And this could go on endlessly with the doubles, but there's a maximum win of 20,000. So you can see the puck landed in 14. So if the player bet on pachinko, then he would be paid 14-1. Next, let's look at a Crazy Time bonus game. So the top slot landed in 2 on the left reel, so that's not going to help us. So if you bet on Crazy Time this game, you would then be eligible to play this bonus. So the dealer goes through that red door and ends up in the Crazy Time spin world. This looks like something I might see if I ate mushrooms with too much psilocybin. So there are different wheels that you may see in this bonus. Let me pause for a minute. So there are lots of different Crazy Time bonus wheels. Some have more doubles, some have less, some have bigger wins. There are some that have a triple symbol, but in the end they all average out to about the same average win. So at this point you can see that there is a green, a blue, and a yellow stopper. The player must pick green, blue, or yellow if he bet on crazy time. So right now the dealer is pausing to let players pick, otherwise the game picks one for you at random.
It's all up to you. Pick one color and click on it. If you don't click, it will pick for you. And max multiplier.
So then the dealer presses the button to spin the wheel. I assume every stop is equally likely. Okay, let me pause for a second. So you can see that the green stopper landed on double, the blue on 10, and the yellow on 50. So if you bet on crazy time and then pick blue, you would win 10 to 1. If you picked yellow, you would win 50 to 1. And if you pick green, the game is not over yet. The game will double all of the fixed wins on the wheel and keep the doubles the same. And then spin again. So if you look carefully, before the wheel stopped, there was a 10 and a 15 on either side of that double, and they just got doubled to 20 and 30. And then the green players are still in this, and the dealer respins the wheel. And it stops in another double. So notice the 40 and the 20 on either side of that yellow double, and they get doubled to 80 and 40. So now all the prizes are quadruple where they started, and the dealer spins the wheel again. And this can go on infinitely, but there's also a maximum win of 20,000. So this time the wheel stops in 100. So had you bet on crazy time and then pick green, you would win 100 to 1.